Because when we get to the fifth mental sphere, then we're talking about superconscious, the virtual omniscient state of mind. I like to call it the universal mind for short. In order for that fourth dimensional continuing consciousness to come alive, the fifth dimension to pick it up when it sees that it's stabilized. If it's not stabilized, the fifth dimension is not going to pick it up and make it happen. Then we have the sixth mental sphere of parapsychic supermental access. These are really scientific words, but all it means is that it's subliminal. It's below the threshold. It signals and processes and goosebumps and thoughts and earrings and stuff. Let's keep it going. Now notice that the lines have siphoned off all three in the middle, right? That's going to be the whole thing. It's the seventh mental sphere. When we get to the seventh mental sphere, this is where our corpus callosum is, of the higher self, telepathically engraved on our corpus callosum, the 3D self, 4D self. And this is the seat of the soul memories, Akashic records, the life summarization of all experiences. So if that's the case, that means we have access to that. You have access to all of your past life knowledge. You come to the planet with that. But how many of us are really trying to access that? A lot of us feel like it's too spooky, especially Black folks. Oh, that's too, why not? You're going to come right back here anyway. Might as well come back a little wiser. We are now going to do the dimensions. Notice the change. We still at one. One is always going to remain. It's going to be the first time dimension, first mental sphere, both of them. First time dimension and first mental sphere. That's the only one, the preconscious, the only one that got both of them for one. When I mean both of them, the mental sphere and the dimension. But now we go over. We don't go down because we're not doing mental spheres now. We're doing the dimensions. The second time dimension. Okay, now let me just explain right quick about the first time dimension because it's called cosmic creation. And it's really dealing with the ether, all of the subatomic particles that we can't see with the naked eye, and a lot of them can't see under microscope that came from the ether, pre-subatomic particles. Okay? All of that's coming from here. Why? It's here to help us to recreate ourselves with the energy known as cosmic forces. You'll hear that term a lot when we talk about the first time dimension, preconscious, cosmic creation, and cosmic forces. All that. I mean, if you hear all of that, you automatically know, oh, they talking about the first time dimension, first mental sphere. Don't trip if you can't remember all of this, because we're going to keep going over it and over it, just like we are doing with the journey of the archetypes. So the second time dimension, as I mentioned earlier, we're talking about the part-time. We're not going to get rid of that because here is where it's starting to energize. All right. It's the electrical lines of force are also in this area. We call the electrical lines of force thoughts, ANOFs. It requires us to be focused and concentrated. How can we do that if we don't have any electrical lines of force there or no thoughts there? So that's why the part-time is there. Okay. Boom. Now we go kitty corner down to the third time dimension. And we know that that was the second mental sphere earlier, right? But we're talking about the dimension right now. And here in the third dimension is called cosmic synchronization. It's the realm of matter. And that's where we are now. Dense body, the whole bit, right? And we're dealing with height, width, and depth, because that's all we know in the third time dimension. Also, I want to say that cosmic synchronization has to do with recreating ourselves as far as the codes and imprinting the codes of the synchronotron. It's so important for us to follow the moon cycle. What plasma are we on? What moon? All these are circles and cycles within cycles that we have to keep track of, and we can. We're not used to doing it, but it can be done. So this is the place, the third time dimension, where we are imprinting those synchronic codes. Now we go to the fourth time dimension that shared the third mental sphere, right? And the fourth time dimension is called the cosmic cube. And here is the atomic and subatomic levels of lower valence. You know, lower valence, we're not as dense. Everything is light. Some people call it the dream world, the heaven, the hereafter. When we say heaven, it's like the first doorway, second doorway, third, who knows what level? Because these dimensions have levels to them. Also, it's the place where we have our thoughts, desires, our ideas, our goals, our dreams, all of that is right there in the fourth time dimension. Then we want to move over to the fifth time dimension, where we have our superior I, our higher self, spirit guide, divine plane resides here. There's no longer time in operation. There's no longer any reincarnations. We're considered immortals in this realm. It's like a paradise, a nirvana, a bliss. Sixth time dimension. Let me talk about the sixth before we go to the seven. The sixth is a plane of light. There is no form here that exists. There's only like entitization. Something that like a, what'd you call that? An apparatus, like something that appears to be something, but it's not physical. Okay. Like your loved one may come to you and it's light, but they have the form of someone that you recognize, that type of thing. It has the interaction of harmonic and inharmonic electrical fluids of energy of different frequencies of light. It's deep. It has spin codes and light codes and everything operating at variable frequencies. Now, seven, and we're not talking mental spheres because we know the whole column will be seven. But here we're talking about dimension, and that's going to be in the court of cosmic knowledge. The seventh time dimension is like the speaking tube of God. It's a mirrorless place. There is no mirror. There is no reflection for seven. If you've ever seen a void or a torrid, you know, those torids, like something like the Twilight Zone where the thing is going around and around and it don't stop. Well, that's something like seven. There is no beginning and there is no end in the seventh time dimension. The eighth time dimension is below here. This dimension is the home of Arcturus force. That's going to be in the front of our head. It's also aligned with the gravitational plane, but it's translated into codes and art and ceremonial magic. Now notice that should be a key right there. Art and ceremonial magic. Because it's in the court of prophecy. Remember? The court of cosmic prophecy where you got the prophet and the prophetess and the magician, and you got the sage, which is the yellow human. Okay, so now we go to 9, and 9 is in the middle there. It's the inner time, and it's really basically about being a transmitter and a receiver. Let's remember that the middle here, that's like the Hunab Ku, which would be similar to the middle of our galaxy. We know that the Hunab Ku is the one giver of movement and measure. Meaning that, but what it does is shoots out the information to every planet, every solar system, every star system, everything in this galaxy. What are they shooting? Stuff that they need, information, healing, whatever. This is also the master storage space for the Akashic records. It's the omni-galactic core of the GMX 108X frequency, which we knew that to be mind transmission.